Hey everybody. So tonight is a little different. Obviously, I don't think you guys can see me, but I wanted to do something a little different this way because I wanted to show you all these awesome brand new books that we had, but I didn't want to have to put them in quarantine, so you had to wait to get your hands on them. So my solution was to come up with a slideshow to show you so you could still see the books, still hear my voice, but not have to wait to get your hands on these new books because there are so many awesome new books out there. I'm just amazed at how many the library is getting in and how many are still sitting on our shelves. I'm not sure where everybody is, but just to let you know, we are open. We're open Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're open 11 to 6. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday is 10 to 6. So we are always happy to pull books for you and run them out. We are also really happy to just help you find whatever book you need. So even if you're not comfortable coming in, you can always give us a call and we're happy to run it out to the curb for you. But more on the next bit. So for our next book, we are going to start with teen books tonight. Probably always going to start with the teen books because we know the teens don't last long. So for our first book, it's Bloom by Kenneth Opel. This first book is seriously, you can't put it down. You can't read it fast enough. It's the start of a trilogy. It really had tones of like Alien and Hatchet for me. So this one is super sci-fi and just kind of creepy, but really cool. So the invasion begins, but not as you'd expect. It begins with rain. Rain that carries seeds that sprout overnight, everywhere. These new plants take over crop fields, twine up houses, and burrow below streets. They bloom and release toxic pollens. They bloom and form Venus flytrap pods that swallow animals and people. They bloom everywhere, unstoppable. Or are they? 3 kids on a remote island seem immune to the toxic plants. Anya, Petra, and Seth. They each have strange allergies and yet not to these plants. What's their secret? Can they somehow be the key to beating back this invasion? They'd better figure it out fast because it's starting to rain again. So this book caught me from the beginning, and seriously, if you like fast-paced reads that just keep you on the edge of your seat, Bloom is for you. So our next book is different. This is called We Are the Wildcats by Siobhan Vivian. And this is absolutely a very intriguing look at high school sports from a female athlete's perspective. So I saw the cover and was like, oh, this is kind of interesting, and read all the reviews and just was like, okay, we have to have this. It's so timely and it's just really thrilling. So the girls who played varsity last season each still nurse a secret wound, the thinnest of scabs capping a mountain of scar tissue. A toxic coach finds himself outplayed by the high school girls on his team in this deeply suspenseful novel, which unspools over 24 hours through 6 diverse perspectives. I loved that it had so many different perspectives going on. It wasn't confusing, but it just makes you go, oh, wow, okay. Tomorrow, the Wildcat varsity field hockey squad will play their first game of their new season. But at tonight's team sleepover, the girls are all about forging the bonds of trust, loyalty, and friendship necessary to win. Everything hinges on the midnight initiation ceremony, a beloved tradition and the only facet of being a Wildcat that the girls control. Until now. Coach, a handsome, former college player, revered and feared in equal measures, changes the plan and spins his team on a new adventure. One where they take a rival team's mascot for a joyride, crash a party in their pajamas, break into the high school for a perfect picture. But as the girls slip out of their comfort zone, so do some long-held secrets. And just how far are they willing to go for their team takes them all, especially Coach, by surprise. This is a testament to the strength and resilience of modern teenage girls. So you will be cheering for each of these characters in equal parts. I loved this book and it was so much fun. So our next book is a wonderful new graphic novel. So I did pop up a picture. The art illustrations in this are absolutely amazing. Lots of pencil and maybe a little charcoal drawings. This is The Dark Matter of Mona Starr. And this is absolutely, it's bold. I'm just going to say that. It really tackles understanding mental illness in a very creative way. So sometimes the world is too much for Mona Starr. She's sweet, geeky, and creative. But it's hard for her to make friends and connect with other people. And her depression seems to take on a vivid, concrete form. She calls it her matter. The matter seems to be everywhere, telling Mona she's not good enough and that everyone around her wishes she'd go away. But with therapy, art, writing, and the persistence of a few good friends, Mona starts to understand her matter and how she can turn her fears into strengths. Heartfelt, emotional, vulnerable, and visually stunning, The Dark Matter of Mona Starr is a story about battling your inner doubts and fear and finding your creative genius. This one is a fast read. The art is magnificent and you will get so much if you just take the time to really slowly go through and look at the art. I loved that it dealt with the mental illness aspect in such a head-on and just bold fashion. For our next teen book, we have another graphic novel. This is Witchlight. This one is just a fun, kind of creative, almost kind of a little bit wonky in some ways. So the art is fantastic, very bold and really different. The color schemes, as you can see by the picture I have up here, lots of blues in that salmon tone. That is pretty strong throughout a lot of the book. So Lika is a witch. That's all Sonia knows when she meets Lika in the marketplace. But Leek is hiding secrets, and as her life begins to intersect with Sonia's, all that she's hiding starts to come to light. Secrets, friendship, and magic all come together as Leek gets closer and closer to uncovering the truth about her past. Witchlight is a wonderful adventure filled with friendship, family, falling in love, and dealing with the hardest bits of your past all along the way. So this one is great for even our younger teens. It's it's a great all-around title that has strong female leads and shows bodies in every shape, size, and color. So that is wonderful. Our final teen book I wanted to bring up tonight, I love this cover. The jellyfish is actually what caught my attention on this cover, is The Light at the Bottom of the World. This is first novel by Landon Shaw, and it is futuristic sci-fi. So I don't know where my sci-fi fans are, but you need to get this book and you need to get it on hold. It's also got a mystery in it. So if you're a mystery fan, this one would probably be good for you as well. So, in the last days of the 21st century, sea creatures swim through the ruins of London. Okay, ruins of London, who isn't hooked already? Trapped in the abyss, humankind wavers between hope and fear of what lurks in the depths around them, and hope that they might one day find a way back to the surface. When 16-year-old submersible racer Leah McQueen is chosen to participate in the city's prestigious annual marathon. She sees an opportunity to save her father, who has been arrested on false charges. The Prime Minister promises the champion whatever their heart desires. But the race takes an unexpected turn, forcing Layla to make an impossible choice. Now she must brave unfathomable waters and defy a corrupt government, determined to keep its secrets, all the while dealing with a guarded, hot-headed champion she never asked for in the first place. If Layla fails to discover the truth at the heart of her world, or falls prey to her own fears, she risks capture or worse, and her father will be lost forever. This is really like an edge of your seat thrill of a ride of a book. It's not that long. You could probably powerhouse through this probably in 1 or 2 sittings, but you could also take it at a nice slow pace because you are going to want to really get to know these characters. So that is The Light at the Bottom of the World, which was our very last teen book for tonight. Moving on, we are going to go to children's picture books and board books. The first one I wanted to highlight is a new one in a series of a monster books by Dizzy Dell. This one is Get Dressed Sasquatch, and this is by Derek and Kyle Sullivan. This is an absolutely hilarious story that even your older toddlers, maybe even kindergartners will love. I would love to actually see this book published as a regular picture book, but currently it is only available as a board book, which is how we have it. So, set in the Pacific Northwest, the trees are always green, the eagles are always stern, and Sasquatch is always, well, you guessed it, naked. But what happens when a rule-toting ranger shows up to ask the Sasquatch to put on some clothes? Find out in this story of mountain fun and evergreen hilarity. I love the cartoon illustrations. They are absolutely adorable. I love the antics that both the Sasquatch and the park ranger get up to. And it is fun and quick read, and it really has a positive message about just being yourself. So for our next book, this is another board book, and this is Nana's Garden, and this is by Larissa Giuliano. It combines 2 very key critical skills that all preschoolers need, which is counting and color recognition, and it makes it fun because it's set in a garden. Who doesn't love a good garden? So explore all the delights and surprises to be found in Nana's Garden. Join our young gardener as she spends her day picking juicy red tomatoes, counting white daisies in her basket, scooping up caterpillars, hugging her Nana under the brown branches, and much more. Larissa Giuliano's wonderful wordplay begs to be read aloud again and again to toddlers. The poetic text combines recognition and counting while encouraging movement and play. I loved the little girl. She's kind of got the brown tone in her skin, so that's very awesome. I loved how vibrant the pictures were. The tomatoes, it made me want to go buy tomatoes, and I'm not a huge tomato fan. So the illustrations are absolutely fabulous. I loved that it's a special day that this little girl gets with her grandparents as well. For somebody who grew up that had their grandparents close, this really resonated with me because being able to have that memory of them teaching me is very special. So I love this book. This book would be a great book for Grandparents' Day to share with grandparents. Our next one is My Rainy Day Rocket Ship by Marquette Shepard. We get rain. Let's face it. And this book is all about one little boy who's played with all of his indoor toys. So what is he going to do on this rainy day when he has to stay home? Well, rainy summer days are no match for this little astronaut who builds the perfect rocket ship for an indoor space adventure to another galaxy where the sky is his only limit. A stormy afternoon and an order for Mom to stay inside are no match for this little dreamer who uses everyday household items, a rocking chair, a cupboard box, old dish rag, and a super duper imagination to whip up a trip around the universe he won't soon forget. My Rainy Day Rocket Ship is a high-spirited, engaging salute to the imagination of boys who use their beautiful minds to transform the mundane into the extraordinary, dream out loud, and boldly go where their sky is the only limit. I love the illustrations in this. They're big, they're bold, they're beautiful. As you can see, I put one up with a dog and the little boy who, this is his spacesuit outfit that he found. This is a very good representation of the amount of words per page, so it reads very quickly, but it is just such a beautiful, fun story that encourages imagination in our children, especially when they're bored because they have to stay inside, which we all can relate to. Our next book, second to last for our little picture books, is Don't Worry, Little Crab. This book, I cannot tell you how much you need this in your life, especially with school coming around the corner. This book, if you have a child that is a little worried about something, like going back to school, will be the solving of your problem. So, don't worry, Little Crab. Little Crab and Very Big Crab live in a tiny rock pool near the sea. Today, they're going for a dip in the big ocean. This is going to be so great, says Little Crab, splish splashing and squelch squelching along, all the way to the very edge. Then comes a first glance down at the waves. Whoosh! Maybe it's better if they don't go in. With vivid colors, bold shapes, and his trademark visual humor, Chris Houghton, I think I got that last name right, shows that sometimes a gentle, don't worry, I'm here, can keep tentative little crabs sidestepping ahead and help them discover the brilliant worlds that await when they take the plunge. This is such a positive book that shows our kids that we are here for them and to encourage them to keep moving forward. I love the art. It is so bold and so graphic and just eye-catching. Our littles, because we live near the ocean, they're going to really resonate with these crabs and be able to recognize some of the other creatures that are in these illustrations. So that is Don't Worry, Little Crab. I really encourage you to hurry and hop on and get that one on hold. Okay, so for our final kids book is A New Kind of Wild. This is probably one of my favorites that we just got in. It is a little longer, so it is great for actually like your kindergarten, first, even second grade because of the length. This is all about a little boy who moves. We know about moving around here as well. So for Rin, home is his grandmother's little house and the lush green forest that surrounds it. Home is a place of magic and wonder, filled with all the fantastical friends that Rin can dream up. Home is where his imagination can run wild. For Ava, home is a brick and cement city, where there are always something to do or see or hear. Home is a place bursting with life, where people bustle in and bustle out like a big parade. Home is where Ava is never lonely because there's always someone to share her adventures with. When Rin moves to Ava's city, he feels lost without his wild. How will he ever feel at home in a place with no green and no magic, where everything is exactly what it seems? Of course, not everything in the city is what meets the eye, and as Rin discovers, nothing makes you feel at home quite like a friend. And this is inspired by the author's father, who moved here from moved to New York from Puerto Rico as a child. So this is Zara's author illustrator first book, and this really explores the true meaning of what home is. I love the illustrations. They're beautiful and just so much fun, and I love the message that home is really where you make it. So I have a few middle grade books I wanted to talk to you about. Tonight, I just finished this book called Coup by Kayla Noel. It is fabulous because it has the sweetest story about a little girl who's raised by pigeons. So, in this exceptional first novel, one young girl's determination to save the flock she calls family creates a lasting impact on her community and in her heart. Gorgeous and literary, this is an unforgettable animal story about friendship, home, and belonging. For readers who love Kate DiCamillo and Catherine Applegate, this is your book. 10 years ago, an impossible thing happened. A flock of pigeons picked up a human baby who had been abandoned in an empty lot and carried her, bundled in blankets, to their rooftop. Koo has lived her entire life on the rooftop with the pigeons who saved her. It's the only home she's ever known. But then an angry hawk nearly kills Burr, the pigeon she loves most, and leaves him gravely hurt. Koo must make a perilous trip to the ground for the first time to find Tully, a retired postal worker who occasionally feeds Koo's flock, and who can heal injured birds. Tully meets mends Burr's broken wing and coaxes Koo from her isolated life. Leaving with Tully, Koo experiences warmth, safety, and human relationships for the first time. But just as Koo is beginning to blossom, she learns the human's world is infinitely more complex and sometimes cruel than she could have ever imagined. This remarkable novel will captivate readers from the very first line. Koo examines the bonds that make us family, the possibility of love, and the importance of being true to oneself. I highlighted a quote here. It says, I don't understand when you speak like birds, right? Koo is a beautiful novel. It had me laughing, it had me crying, it had me staying up way too late to read it. This is a longer novel, but don't be intimidated by the size. It is absolutely amazing. Our next one is actually a second follow-up standalone, so you can read this absolutely by itself, and this is Another Quest for Celeste, and this is by Henry Cole. The first book is Nest for Celeste, which is also one of my absolute favorite books, and this one is just a very sweet story that has beautiful, beautiful illustrations that you can share with the whole family. It actually makes a fabulous read aloud. So, celebrated author and illustrator Henry Cole uses stunningly detailed black and white artwork to illuminate a tale of friendship between an adventurous mouse and a boy who would become one of America's greatest presidents. In the sequel to A Nest for Celeste, Celeste is hundreds of miles from home following an unexpected journey aboard a Mississippi steamboat. After mishaps and disaster, she finds herself on the frontier in southern Indiana. It's 1822, and Celeste meets a tall, lanky boy wielding an axe, young Abraham Lincoln. The journey reveals the harsh realities of frontier life for the Lincoln family, but with the help of Celeste's new woodland animal friends and some creativity, she may just prove that even the littlest creatures can make a big difference. I absolutely love this book. Like I said, it is a fabulous book to read with the whole family. So, our final children's book, I want to say this is the final one. Nope. Second to last is Oddmire. We have a lot of books. I did a long show tonight. So this one is book one of the Oddmire series, and it's called The Changeling. This one is absolutely like your ultimate boy hero adventure book, let me tell you right now. So it's funny, exciting, and really just ultimately an epic adventure. And you really won't be able to wait for the next one, but sadly you're going to have to because the first one just came out. So magic is fading from the wildwood. To renew it, goblins must perform an ancient ritual involving the rarest of their kind, a newborn changeling. But when the night arrives to trade a human baby for the goblin one, something goes terribly wrong. After lying the changeling in the human infant's crib, the goblin Cole is briefly distracted. By the time he turns back, the changeling has already perfectly mimicked the human child. Too perfectly, Cole cannot tell them apart, so he leaves both babies behind. Tin and Cole are raised as human twins, neither knowing what secrets may be buried deep inside one of them. When they are 13 years old, a mysterious message arrives, calling the brothers to be heroes and protectors of magic. The boys must leave their sleepy town and risk their lives in the wild wood, journeying through the deep dark to reach the goblin horde and uncover who they truly are. This is the first book in a new fantasy adventure series by the teen author of Getaway. And so this absolutely takes on like monsters, magic, discovery. If you liked Percy Jackson, you're gonna love this book. So for our final for our final middle grade book tonight, I have Nick Stone's Clean Getaway. If you want a hilarious read aloud book that also imparts a great message, this is the book to pick up. It is a fast read, and it is actually wonderful to read out loud. And this is one road trip you will never ever forget, and you won't want it to end. So how to go on an unpacked road trip with your grandma. 1, grab a suitcase. Packed for the big summer break trip that got canceled. Fasten your seatbelt. Jima, never conventional, so this trip won't be either. Use the green book. Jima's most treasured possession. It holds history, memory, and most important, the way home. What not to bring. A cell phone. Avoid contact with Dad at all cost. Even when Jima starts acting stranger than usual, don't call. Set against the backdrop of the segregation history of the American South, take a trip with this New York Times best-selling author and an 11-year-old boy who is about to discover that the world hasn't always been a welcoming place for kids like him, and things aren't always as they seem, his Jima included. Part history lesson, part road trip. This notable middle grade book stars William Scoob Lamar, a biracial black, presenting black 12-year-old, as he heads off on a road trip with his beloved grandmother, Jima, who is white. He mostly goes to escape a punishment from his father, but as the two make their way through the South, Scoob learns more about the grandfather whom he'd never met, the interracial couple 1963 road trip, which Jima aims to complete, and the ways in which the world has changed and remained the same. As they make their way towards Mexico, Scoob begins to suspect that Jima might be up to something more suspicious than recreating a vacation, and becomes torn between contacting an adult and protecting his grandmother. This dual tour through pre- and post-civil rights movement America confronts the country's difficult past, including how fraught with danger travel was for an average black citizen, while raising questions about what progress should look like. A heartwarming, family-centered adventure that will leave readers guessing until the end. So this was an absolute fabulous book. Like I said, go pick it up and grab it. Okay, hang in with me, guys. I know this is long. My final bits are adult, and we'll go through this one pretty quick. So the first one is an adult graphic novel, War of the Blink, and this is a hide tale that it has been brought to life through manga. It is absolutely stunning and interactive in the retelling of an ancient hide tale. This is in full color, and is a novel about war and peace. It is the story of a fisherman who suspects a party of raiders is descending upon his island home. When his warnings are not heeded, the man must set out to guard the village on his own, only to find himself caught up in a high-stakes game of kidnap and bluff. This is absolutely fabulous. I love the art, and it's a very interesting hide tale. I hadn't actually ever heard this story, so it was very fascinating for me. Next is A Moment of Tenderness by Madeleine Le Guin. If you recognize that name, which most of you probably should, this is the author of A Wrinkle in Time, and this is her adult novel. and it's not really a novel. It is a it is a powerful collection of short stories that trace an emotional arc inspired by Madeline's early life and career, from her lonely childhood in New York to her life as a mother in small town Connecticut. In a selection of 18 stories discovered by one of Le Guin's granddaughters, see how Le Guin's personal experience and abiding faith informed the creation of her many cherished works. I read just a couple of these short bits and I love them. I love her writing, and it's very typical of her writing. So that is A Moment of Tenderness. So for a light side, because we've all had just enough of blah in our lives lately, this one is just a really fun, quick, you know it's going to end happy book, and it's the Happy Ever After playlist. From one troublemaking dog brings together two perfect strangers in this USA Today best-selling romantic comedy, full of fierce humor and fierce heart. 2 years after losing her fiancé, Sloane Monroe still can't get her life back on track. But one troublemaking pup with a take-me-home look in his eyes is about to change everything. With her new pet by her side, Sloane finally starts to feel more like herself. Then, after weeks of unanswered texts, Tucker's owner reaches out. He's a musician on tour in Australia. And bottom line, he wants Tucker back. Well, Sloane's not about to give up her dog without a fight. But what if this Jason guy really loves Tucker? As their flirty texts turn into long calls, Sloane can't deny a connection. Jason is hot, nice, and funny. There's no telling what could happen when they meet in person. The question is, with his music career on the rise, how long will Jason really stick around? And is it possible for Sloane to survive another heartbreak? This is smart. It does a nice blend of really emotionally catching and very funny. The only complaint I had with it is if you're going to call a book Happily Ever After playlist, you better include a playlist. And it did not include a playlist. So, yes, that was my only complaint on this really fast, quick read. Our final book tonight is a cookbook, and it's Everything Chocolate, and this is an America Test Kitchen cookbook. If you've ever picked up one of their books, you know they're foolproof and absolutely amazing. This has anything and everything chocolate that you could possibly want. Make your decadent dreams come true with this chocolate-covered collection of more than 200 foolproof recipes that showcase the treasured dessert ingredients. I loved this book, and I loved all the recipes in it. It was just yum, yum, yum.